Welcome, everybody. Um, New season, August 1st, pretty much beginning of the season. Um, Footy Fantasy, we're back. We were outside for a little bit. Some of us are still outside. I won't name names. Some of us were in a festival yesterday having fun. I will not name names, but the streets are talking. Before we go, let me introduce everybody. Welcome to Pod. Today, this is the Manchester podcast. We'll be focusing on the Manchester clubs. We'll let Man City, since they're champions, we give them to start first. Let me introduce all the guests. Since we're gentlemen on here, Jan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
She's from Yan City Pod. I'll go. Oga Kwame, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Choco, United fan also. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And part of the Footy Fantasy team, Bucci. Thanks for joining us. Zaza.
Pleasure as always. My pleasure.
Okay, if you're watching this live, please share, like, subscribe, share with your friends, family, enemies. You don't have enemies, but if you have one, share with them also. Just keep sharing and liking. Let's dive straight in. We'll do a quick season recap, and we'll start with Man City. So if you have to rate your season over 10, let's start with that. Last season, what would you give it and why?
It's a difficult one because actually we had a very good season, but because it ended on a bit of a negative, it kind of looks worse than it actually was, if you know what I mean. City was strong in all 4 competitions till almost the end, so we did have a great season in terms of what we achieved. Unfortunately, we only won 2 out of 4, so it looks a lot worse. But yeah, I think any season that you win the Premier League is a good season. I don't think you can say it's not. Obviously, the Champions League, we got to the final. With it being our first final, I didn't expect to win it. I've said a few times, even on this podcast, I think we'll lose our first final and then we'll win when we get back, which is what happened. I think we kind of missed an opportunity with playing Chelsea because I think, we're the better team, so we should have really won that. But again, it's Champions League. I don't think we played our best team going into that final. And I think we got exactly what we deserved from the game, which was nothing. So, yeah, it's one of them. It wasn't a bad season. My expectations at the start of the season were to win the league and to go further in the Champions League, which we did both. So I'm quite happy with City's season. I'd say it was it's hard because we've won like a domestic treble before. Technically, it can't be better than the domestic treble because we didn't win 3 trophies. And then also we didn't win the Champions League. So I think based on that, I'd probably say it'd be an 8 out of 10. If we'd have won the domestic treble, it would have been 9. If we'd won the Champions League, it would have been 10. But that's just on City's rankings. If it's another team, it's a 10 out of 10 season. So I don't know. It's one of them.
Here we go. Here we go.
I was gonna say something, but like honestly, what excuse is that? First final, you can't be like us. We won that first final, first time there, but
Yeah, I just think recently there's been like 7 teams that have done what City have done. So it's not like it's just us. But I do agree with you. I think we should have won that final based on who we played. I think we should have done.
I'm going to be nice to you.
Before it even kicked off, to be honest, because that lineup, like the minute I saw the lineup, I said 1-0 Chelsea. And I wish I'd put a lot of money on it because I was adamant it was going to be 1-0 Chelsea. And I wish I'd just put like $2,000 on it or something.
I agree with you because finals, Pep, Tuchel, City, Chelsea. There were 2 things that happened in that game before the game, which was 1, Tuchel was in the final last year.
Yeah.
So he was coming in here with a different mentality.
Yeah.
He had nothing to lose as well.
Yeah.
Tuchel had nothing to lose going into that game.
Yeah.
Pep was Pep. Pep had to win that game. Pep had all the pressure on him.
Yeah.
And then he went and overplayed with his team. The
Yeah.
same thing that kills Pep all the time killed him again.
Yeah.
So I think maybe next time Pep will be better. Now, this is the only time I'm going to make an excuse for Pep. Because to be honest, he should have won that game.
Yeah.
But you can understand him not winning it. But like I said, City cannot be Man United. You can't go to your first Champions League final and win it like we did. You have to always copy us. So we understand.
I mean, look, I don't give any excuses for Pep not winning that game. He should have won. Period.
Yeah.
You don't go into that game with a lineup like that. So he lost. It's on him. However, on a big picture level, City did not have a bad season. They actually have had a really good season. I mean, if a fan can sit here and say we won only 2 out of 4 trophies, you had a good season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a good. That's what I'm saying. It's almost, because I've said this quite a few times. It's really strange. It sounds strange, but it's true.
Yeah.
If we've gone out to PSG in the semi-final, I think PSG go on to win that because one, they seem to get the better over Chelsea, and 2, they've been in a Champions League final and lost. So I would expect them to go back and win. So I actually think we would be sat here now saying City had a better season than going to the final and losing, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And it's weird because we got further, but it's worse, if you know what I mean. Whereas if we'd have gone out to PSG, I think people would have said, look, PSG, they've got Mbappe, Neymar, they've got a great team there. They weren't winning the French league, so it would have been all eyes on the Champions League. And I think we'd be sat here saying we went out to the Champions League winners, who were PSG, if you know what I mean. I think it would almost make the season sound better had we not gone through to the final. It sounds mad, but that's kind of like how I feel.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Losing a final hurts. It always does. Always does. Especially to a team you should have beaten. That hurts more. Yeah. But let me ask you this. Going into your season review, because you're focusing a little bit on the negative. It was a good season, but forget the but. Let's look at the good sides of City.
Yeah.
Talk about your man Diaz.
Yeah, so I think ahead of the season, City fans were a bit worried. If we go into the season without a centre-back, we're going to struggle because we hadn't replaced Vincent Kompany. I did say in my pre-season prediction, I said that if we sign a centre-back, who I thought at the time was going to be Koulibaly, I thought if we sign Koulibaly, we'll win the league. If we don't, we won't win the league. And that's what I said. Obviously, it wasn't Koulibaly. I think City wanted it to be Koulibaly, and that's why we bought Nathan Ake. A lot of people are saying they don't understand Ake. I fully understand why we bought him. We bought him because we were planning to buy Koulibaly, who is late 20s. And then we brought someone who was sort of mid-20s so that when Koulibaly gets a bit older, we could rotate between the two of them. That was the idea. Obviously, it didn't happen. We ended up buying someone younger. So now we've got a young centre-back. But Diaz, he came in. He hit the ground running. He dramatically improved us. A lot of people are saying, comparing it to Van Dijk. Liverpool fans are adamant that there's no comparison and it's nothing like it. But it was, because Man City, you saw the game before he signed. I think we drew 1-1 in his first game. But the game before that, I think 5-3, where we got battered by Leicester. I don't think it was that in terms of statistics and how it went. But in terms of scoreline, you don't want to be getting beat 5-3 at home by any team. 5-2, sorry. So, it was one of them where he came in and we just looked better defensively. And, he's probably the reason why we got to the Champions League final, because he was absolutely excellent against PSG. So, I think Diaz was great. I thought City did well to recover because we really didn't start the season well. If you'd have said at Christmas City going to win the league, you would have got laughed at. Like people were just like, no, it's going to be
I
Liverpool.
think the opposition collapsed. That's what happened.
Yeah.
They all
And
collapsed.
I think to be honest, we did have some games in hand that people were kind of ignoring and saying, City are in the bottom half when we did have games, to play. But yeah, I think City did well. It was a bit of a weird season for everyone. I don't think City were particularly that great. And it's weird because we had almost our best ever season.
That's
But
right.
I don't think we were that great. Like we've had better seasons where we've been better in the league, better in the, in the Champions
performance,
League,
better play, more excited.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'd say the Champions League, in terms of the Champions League, we were very, very good. We didn't put a foot wrong into the final. We didn't lose a game. I think we only drew once, which was with Porto, and it was a 0-0. It's not like we got beat.
4 goals before the final. It was 4 goals conceded.
We only conceded 4 goals, and the teams that we played against Haaland, against Mbappe, against Neymar, you would expect more goals than that. So I think City did well, and this is why it's so frustrating that we lost that final because we lost 1 game, Chelsea lost 1 game, Chelsea drew 2 or 3 games, we drew 1, and it's like, if it's a league, we win it, but because it's a knockout competition, it all depends on who turns up on the day and how well you play. And City, unfortunately, we lost when it mattered, whereas they lost when it didn't matter too much. So it was a bit annoying, but I thought we played really well in the Champions League. This is the first season where I thought City can actually win this. Before that, I was like, we're not ready. I know I've been speaking to Io a lot about it, and I've been saying City are not ready to win it. City are not ready to win it. I thought this year we looked like we were ready, especially after beating PSG the way we did. But I think it'll come eventually. I think it will come when we least expect it. I think
it never come.
Probably aren't as good. It's weird.
Okay.
All right. Let me before she goes, let me just say something quickly. Sorry, Ayo.
No, she's not gone. She's not gone yet.
Oh no, I mean before she's done with that.
Yeah.
Look, the contrast between City in the league and the Champions League was actually football that wins Champions League. People forget this. People always think the best team wins Champions League, but it's never been the best team. It's actually the most effective team.
Yeah.
You can see how City became very effective, managed football, played with the best of what they have, not the best soccer they could play, and got 4th in Champions League. It was the same thing with Sir Alex and a lot of other teams. The 99 team was just a very effective team. It wasn't the greatest team.
Yeah.
The really great team he had was the 2008 team. They only went there once and won it. The other times they lost because of Messi. But if you look at it, other teams, Porto, these teams grind out results in the Champions League, and then they suck in the league. So I would say this. Oh my God, I'm praising Pep again. Oh, it's raining outside. I respect what Pep did this year because you were saying you didn't have a great season, but if you look at the rest of the league, what happened was a lot of people just collapsed and went, okay, whatever. Whereas Pep realized, look, I just make a few changes and I manage this team, and he took them as far as he could. Next season will be different. Next season will be different because everybody's ready now. That's my own 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
But you don't we always say that every season that everyone's ready now? Like
no.
I need you to specify who is ready.
Okay, what I'm
exactly? I'm saying that like who's everybody?
Look, I'm talking about the big boys. The big boys are all coming next season with their pants and their boots on. Chelsea,
I agree.
Liverpool.
Chelsea.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Chelsea. Last year, let's be honest, as United, we weren't considered one of the big boys. If I don't know anyone here who thought we were going to finish second last year before the season started. So, in terms of all the big boys last season, I thought they were all ready to have a go. We all thought Liverpool was going to either have a second. Myself and Ayo, if I can remember correctly, predicted that Liverpool was going to win a back-to-back title.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what we thought, and we thought Man City was the only big team that we thought wasn't ready. So, sorry,
I predicted City beginning of season. I didn't predict.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay, sorry. I actually thought that City was. I thought that City was actually going to finish like 3rd. That was my prediction based on
Yeah, I remember
the
that.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based
I
on
think because
Liverpool's form, the way Liverpool look.
Exactly, and then their defense. I thought that Man City wasn't going to sort out their defense, and I thought that was going to be an issue, a big issue. But obviously they shut me up,
But
sadly.
That's where you know. That's where you know that fans, real fans, know their teams. Because a Liverpool fan told us something last season, and he was like, "With that defense," he kept saying that defense. All we just need is one injury. It happened.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
True.
Liverpool are strong and not strong. They don't have depth. And it keeps worrying me for them. Like, what are they doing? But I mean, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy, but I want my rivals to be a little bit stronger. So when we beat them, they don't have excuses.
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's what I said about Liverpool, because a lot of people are asking me about Liverpool winning the league, even the year that they did. And I was like, Liverpool are a great team. They're not a great squad. And to win the Premier League, you need a squad. You know, you can have a great team, but 1 or 2 injuries and you're struggling. And the reason why City are so strong is how many times have we lost De Bruyne, who was our best player, and then still managed without him because we've got Bernardo Silva and people that can come in. And with Liverpool, it's very much, if you take out 2 or 3 of their players, their team is nowhere near as good, you know. And it's like, I've been saying this to Liverpool fans for years now, since they got like Van Dijk. If Van Dijk gets injured, you're going to have problems. And they were kind of like, well, no, everyone gets injuries. And it's like, to be fair, the season that they won it was actually Man City who got a serious injury to Laporte, which affected our season. And I think Sane, obviously, he was out for the whole season as well. So we kind of got hit with injuries more than Liverpool in that season where they won it. And then obviously this season, to be honest, when they won the league, what they should have done is gone out and bought the players that they're kind of bringing in now. They should have done that to retain the title, but they didn't. And then now it's like, I don't know whether this next season coming, I think there's going to be too many strong teams around them now, because Man United have got the players that they need by the looks of it. City are going to strengthen, obviously. Chelsea are going to strengthen, and Chelsea already have a team that I think are going to be better next season.
For sure.
So I think with Liverpool, they could win the league, but I think it's going to take a lot more than what their owners are going to be prepared to spend, to be honest. I can't really see them winning it next season. But who knows?
Okay.
I think we need to get a special day and talk about football finances, because I don't understand how Liverpool are not buying players. But please move on. Sorry.
I was going to say okay, sorry. But I want to react to what you just said. I was thinking about it. I watched, I watched what's it called? The movie about
Moneyball.
About yes. And I noticed that the owner of Liverpool, sorry? Moneyball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He basically is the same guy in that. And I think that he's just basically, because of how well Moneyball worked, the whole Moneyball system worked for him in the American sports that he owns, I think he's just kind of like stuck with that as like almost like a belief system. And I think that's probably what's holding them back. I think it's that whole concept of let's not spend too much money. Let's be as smart as possible with the resources we have. And that's what I think.
Itata has been quiet. Itata, thanks for joining us. Let's welcome him for 19 minutes. Let's stick back to the topic, because I feel like we are very enough now. Quick rating for City's season last year and why. Just a quick over 10. Give them a rating. Then we'll go back to Jan to do a preview.
For me, are you asking?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well, I think City they've raised the bar for themselves. I think now City go into the season expecting to win the domestic treble every season. It's almost a joke now, and I can't envy them. They're strong enough to win the domestic. I think they were going for the quadruple. That tells you the bar they're setting for themselves. By City standard, I think last season I would give them a 7.5. by their standard, because their standard is pretty high. However, by football standards, that was a strong 8.5 season.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. So let's go on to the season preview 21-22. Which players do you need, Jan? Like, ideally, I know you guys are linked to Grealish, Kane, and I know you have this thing. I see you on social media slandering Kane. I need to understand where that's coming from. Like, I see your slander for Kane. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, she doesn't want Kane. I was like, you don't want Harry Kane? Are you serious?
Do you know what?
So let's talk about transfers. What are your thoughts? Then we'll end with expectations for the season.
First of all, I do rate Kane. I think Kane is the best striker in the league. I don't think he's better than Aguero, but Aguero is at the end of his career, so he has been the best for a while now. So so I do rate Harry Kane. Harry Kane would come in and score so many goals under Pep at Man City with the likes of De Bruyne and what looks like it's going to be Grealish as well. So he will score a lot of goals. My issue with Harry Kane is big games. And the problem we have is that at Man City, it's all well and good. If you turn up and score loads of goals in the league, that's great. But if we're signing a player for his amount of money, we need someone that's going to turn up in that Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich where, they're dominating play and there's one chance, one goal. We need someone that's going to put that away. Obviously, every signing is a risk. We never really know what's going to happen until we sign them. But if you said to me now, Man City are in a game like that against Bayern Munich, they've got one chance, one shot in the game that has to be scored by this player. Who are you taking, Lewandowski or Harry Kane? I'm not taking Harry Kane because I've seen Lewandowski score that kind of goal. I haven't seen Kane do that yet. So for me, it's risky to sign him because I think we've won the league without a Harry Kane. We've won the league with, no striker pretty much.
No striker. Last season, there was no striker.
We've done it. And I think our players score enough goals, even right now, without needing, even though I do think we definitely need a striker, but without kind of needing a striker of that amount of money to come in. I think we could get another striker who's a bit cheaper that could probably score us enough goals to win the league. The problem for me would be the Champions League and them games where you haven't got 25 shots. You haven't got 10 shots on goal. Them sorts of games. I haven't seen him turn up yet. A lot of people say, well, he plays for Spurs, well, he plays for England. Fair enough. But we've seen Jamie Vardy lead Leicester to a title in a season where there was a three-horse race. There was a two-horse race between Leicester and Tottenham. They were the only two teams that could realistically win the league, and they finished third. So for me, that's not quite what I'm looking for at my club, to be honest. But I wouldn't turn Harry Kane down. I'm not stupid. I know we need a striker. I know Harry Kane will be great for us. Who knows? Maybe if he's playing with De Bruyne, he scores in that final. Maybe he scores in them games. Who knows? But for me, I always felt like if you're going to spend over a certain amount of money, go for a Haaland. If you can't get Haaland, go for Mbappe. Mbappe's got 1 year left on his contract. And, he's done it in a World Cup final. I don't think there's a bigger stage than that. So me personally, if we're going to spend the amount of money that we're being linked to with Kane, go and get Mbappe or Haaland. Get someone younger that you can kind of bring through, bring along with us for the ride. And I think Harry Kane is his last contract. If we buy Haaland and it doesn't work out, we sell him for probably more than what we paid. If Harry Kane doesn't work out, we're stuck with him till he retires. So for me, it's not that I don't rate Harry Kane. I do rate Harry Kane. But I just thought, for what? If it was 60, 70 mil, I'd be all for it. Go get him. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Who knows?
Director
We'll
of
have to
football,
I think-
Yannicka.
he's gonna come.
Yeah, you've got the
Yeah.
director of football now.
It's actually very hard to argue with that because the first point about Kane never really doing it is true. Because even for England, it happens. In
Yeah.
that final, that last game, Kane was missing. I mean, you can say Chiellini did well, blah, 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 but this guy came there and went dead. Like Kane, he could have played with another striker in that game. That's how bad Kane was.
Mm.
For 150 million, you could probably get Lewandowski for 40, do that job for 2 years. So
Yeah.
you have a point because the results you cannot spite someone who does the stuff. So you can't say, he's not been there yet, but not give people who do this stuff, who have been there, who have been doing it, like Lewandowski, Mbappe, and you not give them the kudos. So I think you have a point. 150 million, but then the other question is, it's 120 or thereabouts for Grealish. Has he done it? He hasn't done it either.
No, I agree. I think Grealish, for me, like it's a lot of it is English tax, they call it. A lot of it is that, which I know that. Grealish, to be honest, it is a lot of money for Grealish, to be honest. I don't really agree with it. I think the reason why he's 100 million is because he's younger and because I reckon it's people like Declan Rice going for 80 mil. And Harry Maguire, you can't really look at a Grealish.
I mean, Ben White was 50 million.
Yeah. But I think if Grealish is Spanish, we're talking 45 mil, 50 at a push. If he was Spanish, it's simply because he's English why he's cost that much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like with City, like it's a bit strange because they said they wouldn't pay the money for Haaland, who I think is kind of like he can almost. I don't know.
Well, I think I'm going to jump into the defense of Harry Kane here for a second, right?
Yeah.
Because we can say that, look, he hasn't done it on the big stage. Has he had the opportunity to do it on the big stage? Tottenham, I'm sorry, is not the big stage, right? Mm-hmm. They might have a big stadium, they might have a new stadium, but that's all there is to them, really.
Yeah.
Yes, the England he's had the chance in the England team, but that's different. That's international football. But Lewandowski, he has done it because he's had the chance to do it at Bayern Munich.
Wait. Sorry. Let me interrupt you there. You just said international football is different, Jola. So you finally agreed international football is different.
We're not going there. We're not going there.
I'm just messing with you.
Lewandowski he's had the chance to do it at the big stage at Bayern Munich. You put Lewandowski in that Tottenham team, is he doing the same thing? Absolutely not, right? Mbappe, yes, he's had the chance to do it at PSG. Has he won the Champions League for them? No. Has he won the World Cup for France? Absolutely yes. But then in terms of big chances, Mbappe misses some big chances, right? Yeah. If we're in a semi-final against Bayern Munich and I'm one-on-one with the goalkeeper, what's your goalkeeper? Manuel Neuer? I trust Harry Kane to beat the goalkeeper than I trust Mbappe. So I think you should. I hear you from the money perspective, but I think you should give him a chance. And quite frankly, right now, what is the alternative for Manchester City?
There is. Yeah, that's the only thing that I would say.
What is the alternative?
I think we'll get. That's what I mean. I think we will get Harry Kane now because one, Grealish coming makes it more likely because I think Harry Kane is going to see it as everyone else is kind of moving on to better things. And, he knows with Tottenham, he's probably not going to ever win anything. I think their biggest chance of winning something was actually against us in the League Cup last season. I think City, we do love the League Cup. It's a nice trophy to win because you win it early. But there was no pressure on us to win it. We've already won it 3 times in a row. It was their big chance of a trophy. And City didn't particularly play well in that game. They didn't need to. City kind of didn't
They had Ryan Mason as the coach. They had Ryan Mason as the coach, though. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not. He had an opportunity, and the thing is, it's not even about like we've played. Say, for example, even if you want to talk about Grealish, we've played Aston Villa in a final. Aston Villa turned up. We still beat them, but they turned up. You know, we played Liverpool in a final. They turned up. Chelsea, like we've beaten teams that turned up. I don't think Tottenham turned up in that, especially Harry Kane. I didn't know Harry Kane was playing in that game.
Turned up in the final.
Yeah. And you can turn up but lose. Like City didn't play well against Chelsea. A lot of our players were underwhelming. But I think Kyle Walker played well. Gabby, when he came on, played reasonably well. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we didn't win, obviously, but they still turned up in that final. He didn't turn up in that final. There was Tottenham players that were better than him in that game. You know, so for me, it's like when you're the main man, which he is, you're the guy that's expected. This is why De Bruyne gets slated. Every time De Bruyne doesn't play well, he gets slated. It's not because he's the only one that needs to turn up. It's simply because the expectation for De Bruyne is that he's the best player on the pitch. So when he isn't the best player on the pitch, questions start getting asked. And I think with Harry Kane, a lot of people give him excuses. Like it's always, oh, he's not in a good team. He's not in this. He's not in that. But I think that 2017 season, Tottenham are the more experienced team. Tottenham should win the league over Leicester in that situation. I really do think they should. You know, they had a better team. You know, people talk about better teams. Tottenham at that point had a better team than Leicester. You know, Leicester had some great players, don't get me wrong. But if you'd have said at the start of the season, put your house on who finishes higher, Leicester or Tottenham, you're putting your house on Tottenham at the start of the season. So, yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe he is what we're missing. Maybe he's going to come in and score us the winner in the Champions League. And I hope that he does. I would love nothing more than to be proven wrong on this Harry Kane thing, because that means that my club are successful. But I just think I'm going to be right, unfortunately.
You're usually always right, and I don't like to disagree to you a lot. But you're actually always right. Like almost all the calls you made, because sometimes I just go back and look at the old highlights of all the old pods last season. Almost everything you said happened spot on. You said how you thought Chelsea was going to get to the final. You said that you called it from like second round. I remember you calling it like this change of coach. They're going to get to the final.
And I said Chelsea's best chance of winning the Champions League was to play City in the final.
Correct. You said that. You called the fact that you thought City was going to win the league. City could still win the league in December when you guys were like still below Manchester United. You called a lot of things that are like, oh, so you're usually always right. So let's take this comment. Siama says maybe Harry Kane is what is missing to win Chelsea. You see and she laughs. She's joking. She's a United fan, so she's just running banter. So let's end with so it looks like you want Grealish and you want a striker. What are your what's your season expectations?
See, the Premier League is a lot harder to retain than it is to win. So I don't know about the Premier League. I would have to see who we get. I think if we get Harry Kane, there's not really an excuse, even though there's other teams that are strong. I think Chelsea with Haaland will be incredibly strong because I think defensively they're very, very strong. So if they get Haaland, it's the missing piece of their puzzle. So I think with the confidence of winning the Champions League, they're not under any pressure in that. So they can kind of just focus on the Prem. And, so I think if Chelsea get Haaland, I think Chelsea should be winning the league. So, yeah, I'm not sure about retaining it. League Cup, do we win it 5 times in a row? That sounds a bit wild. So I don't know about that. The FA Cup, I think we need to win the FA Cup. It's been a while. We don't tend to win the FA Cup too much.
It's been a while. 2019 is a while. I'm going to let you run that. That's a flying deep. I'm not going to let you go run that deep. Just running. I'm like, nah, don't throw shade. What kind of shade is that? It's been a while.
This is unfair.
Like, she's literally she's killing all of us. Like, she's just like.
But that's what's mad about City now. It's like it's failure if you don't win 3 trophies. Like it's mad. It's madness. It's just madness. But yeah, I think the Champions League is difficult because I think usually when you get to a final, not too many teams get to back-to-back finals. So I don't know whether we get there. I feel like we probably go out earlier. I think this is going to be a disappointing season in terms of City's standards. I hope not. I hope we win the league again. I think if we get Harry Kane and Grealish, we should be winning the league, regardless of what Chelsea do, just because we've improved in the areas that, well, not in the areas, in the area, which is a striker that we've needed. So I think if we do get Harry Kane, I would expect to win the league. But yeah, like maybe I think at best, probably the league and an FA Cup. At worst, probably just 1 cup. Or, you know, that's what I think. But who knows? I can't tell you. Till the season starts, I don't know. Because with City, I can as the season goes on.
If City buy Grealish and Kane and don't win a intergalactic quadruple.
If we buy Harry Kane and don't win the league, then I'm 100% right.
If you buy Grealish and Kane and you don't win, I mean, you have to go and represent the universe.
They have to win.
This is now Space Jam.
You have to win the World Cup, man. You have to win
La Liga. They have to win League A.
That will literally be how it is. But you know what? It's mad because it's like that's the thing. Like if we do sign Harry Kane and we don't win anything, then he is a trophy dodger, and we need to sell him straight away because boys trophies like no one's business, man. He's a bad luck charm. I don't know why we're bringing him in. He's a bad luck. No.
Oh man. Let me take some of the comments as they come in. Sorry, let me take some of the comments.
Banter aside.
Let me take some of the comments.
Oh, okay, sorry.
1 second, let me take a comment. Sorry. Ryan says, "Big up the panel." Ryan's a Liverpool fan. He's part of the Sarcasm City. Thanks, Ryan. Kenne says, "Amen to a disappointing season for City." Is a United fan. Yeah, yes, that's what we want.
Amen to that.
So I can run banter for the next. They have Super League too. Yeah, you should win Super League also. Okay, Choco, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that sometimes, banter aside, sometimes, you have great players that don't win. We've had many great players that don't end up winning trophies. As much. So yeah, banter aside, Kane is still he's a great player. He's a top, as you've agreed to. So if he comes to Man City and doesn't win it, you shouldn't ship him. Just keep him there. And if it's bad luck, well, just keep him a bit longer.
Let's wrap up the City segment. And you have to stay. For all the shade you are throwing, that's your punishment. You have to stay. Even for like 20 minutes for United section, you have to stay. Yeah, because all the shade you are throwing, nah, you must get yours back. You have to stay. My final thoughts about
it's just facts, isn't it?
My final thoughts about Kane, though. I think the guys at the Athletic, they did like a data analysis. Harry Kane is actually the perfect striker for City. From the data analysis they looked at, based on like positioning, where City have struggled, positioning of goals. And when I think about it too, I think so too. I think he's the game breaker. Like, because there are a lot of times City's system of like pass doesn't work. Sometimes you just need a striker you can just cross the ball to that heads it and opens up the game. So I think I personally think Harry Kane will bang at City.
He's a clinical striker, and that's what we've needed. So he should do what we intend to buy him for. He should do it. My issue is whether he does when we really need him to. You know what I mean? But he should do. He should. He's got no. If he joins Man City, all the excuses that people have had for him are gone. There's no excuse.
I agree. Absolutely.
Creative players. He's playing in a big team. He's playing at the highest level. He's got everything he needs to succeed. So if he doesn't succeed at City, it's 100% on him because
Absolutely.
there's no excuse. Because I think I could score goals at the end of a De Bruyne cross because he puts
There we go.
Like, you literally just stand there with your foot and just clap it and it should go in, like, you know.
It's okay. We let that slide.
Honestly speaking, if City signed Grealish and Kane will have 30 goals before me. 30 league goals before me.
I agree.
I'm 100% on that.
That's a recipe. Every time I keep monitoring it, I'm like, I hope this doesn't happen. Because if that happens, like the next season,
the Grealish one is going to happen. That one has already happened. I think it's just a formality at this point because even Aston Villa they already had Leon Bailey as a replacement. They have Buendia as a replacement. So they're preparing for his departure. It's the Harry Kane one that is still up in the air. And
I said this a long time ago, right? You talked. I remember when I said this, like this Grealish thing. I said it because when I saw Villa spending money, I said they've done a wink week, or they've already winked. They've done like an agreement behind that we're saying. So they started spending money ahead so that they don't get inflated transfer fees. I mean, smart. That's smart business. You spend ahead before you. Yeah. So I think they already need to selling them.
City's not buying the two of them. City's not buying the two of them quickly. Yeah. We forgot the finances. They can afford to buy them, but the wages are a problem. Kane is not going to come to City and not take one of the highest wages. Grealish is going to come and take some good wages. If you remember the summer, before we got to the summer, KDB had trouble renewing his contract at City because he was not getting the kind of wages he wanted. Buying these players would also create a problem. So I do not see City getting the two because of that, because they would have to break their salary structure, and City have been very careful about that. They didn't even want to break it for De Bruyne. So that is that's the only thing I look at. They won't get the two. That's just what I feel. It's gonna be either or.
If they get the two, that'll be like 250 million, right? Sorry, Bucci. Sorry.
Yes, sir. I'm done. Yeah, that's like 250 million. Then about another 30 million in wages for Kane, and then, like 30 million a year. In wages to Kane, because that's what it's gonna get, something like that.
Yeah, because I think the idea for City was Grealish would be on a 5-year deal for 100 mil. So I don't know how they'll do it in terms of wages, but he'd probably be on quite a lot. And then Harry Kane, because Aguero was on 350, I think they were probably just going to try and pay Kane 350 a week. But City have said that they won't go over a certain amount of money. But I think Kane could be forced to stay at Tottenham simply because Man City will probably be stubborn with the fee and say we're not paying over a certain amount. And Levy is going to be stubborn on his side and say he's not leaving for a certain amount. And I don't think City pay, because I think if it does come to 150, 160 million, I think City will be thinking we could wait a season and go and get Haaland for like 78 or whatever it is if he doesn't join Chelsea. So I don't know if City go for him if he comes to a certain amount. So you might be right. We might not get both. But yeah, they still could go for Kane. But I think Levy might stop him from leaving, personally, because he's got 4 years left on his contract. So they don't
there's no pressure to sell.
Yeah, they don't have to sell.
Absolutely.
Let's go on to United podcast. The main event, why everybody, the whole world is watching. The Super Club, the showstoppers,
in Manchester,
the biggest club in the world.
If you want to know what color Manchester is,
the Super League.
Look at my nappy friend over there. Just look at the color of his shirt. Beautiful red, white stripe. That's the color of Manchester right there.
famous Manchester United. Famous Manchester United. Let's get Jola kick it off. So this is the approach we're going to use, because I think all of us were interested so much in the transfer. We dragged on long. So let's quick summary, and I'll let Mr. Mr. Oga Kwame. You're going to kick this section off for us. Rate Manchester United's 2021 season over 10, and a quick summary of why you have that score. Just quick. You can hit your points quickly.
I'm listening.
Why?
Okay. I will give Manchester United season 2021 season 4 out of 10. The reason I give that score is because you can classify or categorize what Manchester United achieved on all 4 ends as abject failure. Let's start with the Europa League. You know, I will never stop banging the drum on how terribly that final was managed. Yeah. You know, it is if you're teaching and breeding young coaches, and there's an example of what not to do in coaching a game, just play that video for them, and you have your lesson. So there is no excuse to have lost that final. Had we won that final, I would have bumped us up to like a 7.5, maybe 8. To be fair, that is our performance in Europe last season is a big part of why I put us at a 4. First, the way we exited the Champions League was embarrassing. The way we exited that competition was ridiculous. You know, we went into the group stages, and to be fair, we had no expectation because, you know, the teams we had in our group, PSG, Leipzig, you know, we didn't really expect to go through. But after the first 2 games, all we really had to do was just manage ourselves and just cruise into the last 16. And you know what? We bottled it, just like we expect the roadside carpenter to, you know. And then we get into the Europa League, a competition where we did not belong. We should have never been in that competition, you know. Like, so it's like you have a child who cannot pass the 4th grade, right? This child keeps getting held back because they're not smart enough to pass the 4th grade, right? And then they come back to the 4th grade for a 2nd year in a row, and they still cannot pass. That's what we are like in the Europa League, you know. So I mean, it's just that is a big part of why I give us a 4. Now, moving on to the league, people say it's an improvement, and yes, I get it. You go from 3rd to 2nd. I mean, logically, numerically, that is an improvement. However, looking at the totality of the circumstances, I don't see the improvement, right? A lot of people will say that, oh, if you finished 4th, if you finish 4th and you finished 3rd in the season before, that's a regression. But for me, actually, an improvement would, if, for example, this season, if we finish 4th this season and we're 3 points behind the winner, that is a massive improvement for me, right? Because I don't look at my position on the league table. I look at how close I am to the top of the table. And if I'm 13 points, how many points did we, 12 points behind City last season? Considering how widely, you know, the league race was blown last season. I mean, it was blown wide open. Starting from like November, December, it was blown wide open. And yet, I wasn't expecting us to win. I was just expecting some kind of serious competition, but no. So 4 and no more.
Okay. Mr. Our in-house homosexual, Bucci.
You're on mute, bro.
You're on mute. Bucci, you're on mute, oh.
Bro, you're on mute.
But excuse me. I'm gonna need a paper bag before I leave it. I'm hyperventilating right now, man. Oh my god, what did I just listen to? Woo! Okay. 4 over 10 is like, okay. I don't want to. If I discuss this guy, I will go nuts, man. Oh my god,
go nuts, bro. Go nuts.
Oh Lord.
Give us your rating. Give us your rating, Zaza. Give us your rating.
I'm gonna be honest, and I'll give it a 7.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. that could have been an 8-9-ish season, but it didn't for two reasons. He already mentioned the disgraceful performance in the Champions League. That was so embarrassing that I don't even want to remember it. But apart from that, the other reason why the season is not an 8 or 9 is because of the Europa League. Take everything else away, it was a good season. It's easy to go, oh, people blew the league, but it wasn't just United that blew the league. There was a Liverpool that blew the league. We're talking about a league, right? There was a Chelsea that blew the league. There were so many teams that were going up and down that the simple fact that Ole, apart from Man City, had the most consistent team for most of the season. He only had a blip at the beginning, then he caught it and kept it going. But a lot of teams were struggling. Teams were even struggling sometimes to go 1 month, one good month. Some would win 2 games in a month, lose 2 games. Some would go 2 straight months. He was steady. Now, why that is important, when people say 2020 to 2021 season, you have to actually look at, there were games last season that we would have blown the previous season, that they did better in. Of course, there were also games they should have won, like the period in March, February, when they lost to Sheffield. I think they lost to Arsenal or drew Arsenal. They should have won that game and then should have beaten West Brom that they drew. That period was bad. But then if you look at it, when you're going 3 straight matches, if you had done better, you would have been 6 to 4 points behind City. That shows you the level of improvement in that team. Because in the previous season, you could go and pick out 10, 15 games where you're going, this team was so terrible. There were not that many games last season. It was a better team. Then you also have to look at the fact that there were things in that season that a manager could not legislate for, but they still did well. The striker was dead. You know that there was only one striker in the Manchester United team you could say had a good season, and he came in around November. That was Cavani. Greenwood was bad until March. Marshall, just ignore. They should just put a cross, just cross that last season for March. It didn't exist. This guy carried an injury most of the season. Rashford. So you're looking at a strike force that did not play, and yet this team was able to get as far as it did. You can't tell me you can't name one United forward that you go, oh, this guy deserves to be in or around the team of the season, because none of them were. So the forward line was poor. No. So when you look at this and you can't say the team improved, then you're not being fair to them, because this was a team that was scoring goals for fun in the restart after Bruno came. They were doing much better. The forwards were looking so good. Actually, what we thought was going to be a problem was going to be the defense. It now flipped around that the defense was poor. The team's offense they were getting goals, but they were not that good. They were really not that good. So I have to give that season a 7 because of that. I would have given them higher if they had done better in the Champions League. If they had gotten out of that group, I would have rated them higher. But to be very honest, I will never, ever make an excuse for that final. It was an embarrassing loss. You can't say first time, because Villarreal were there for the first time. Villarreal were a wicked team. Half of the Villarreal.
Shade has been thrown. I don't know if Yannick can hear that, but you didn't catch that shit, right? You can't say first time.
Like 2 or 3 players in the Villarreal team that can get into the Man United team. So there was no excuse for that. But apart from that, it was a better than the season.
Also, remember how he lost the FA Cup game to Leicester City? And also, just one more thing before we go on to the next person. Think about this. For how terrible Liverpool was last season, remember the kind of defensive calamities that befell Liverpool last season. They still considered fewer goals than we did in the league. So
that's what I said, that coming into the season, we were thinking, the defense wasn't that good. You get that, you find that the defense was bad, as usually bad. Actually, the defense got worse, and then the strike force got worse. I don't know how we came second, because I don't know how we came second, because you can't name.
It feels like you
Come
just
out of
got Charlie
Welly Cavani.
a little bit.
A new striker in the Premier League is the guy you would go and say that was our main striker last season because he was the guy. Greenwood was rubbish until match. He was missing. Martial, please, if they sell that guy, I won't cry for him. Rashford, like that's just it. And then I'll be very honest, we were better last season. The Europa League final is giving me what do you call it? I'm still having trauma from that final. It's giving all of us some trauma. That's why we're messing up our ratings because I'm sure these two boys are gonna say 3 now, and then I will start crying.
Not me. Choco, give us your rating for last season and why.
Okay. I would go for somewhere in between. So I'll go for 6.5 out of 10. And my reason for that was that I genuinely, I'm not gonna lie to you. I genuinely entered last season with very low expectations. I think we all did, considering the fact that we had we didn't have the best transfer window. Everyone was strengthening, especially with the way Chelsea was strengthening as well. We're like, we had Chelsea strengthening. We already had Liverpool and Man City, out of touch, not within our touching, within our reach. And so realistically, we were all, even the most positive United fans were thinking, fourth will be will be a very good season, finishing fourth. I was a bit more pessimistic than that because I was thinking, listen, especially with the coach we have and with the style that we play and with teams being stronger, I didn't see it happening. I honestly thought we're going to finish around. I especially with the game starting as well, when the season started and we had that really terrible run as well, I was like, yeah, it's not happening now. It's not happening. So to be honest with you, based on that alone, I'll give the team 6.5. But adding to that, actually, I'll say one of the things that another reason why I give a 6.5 out of 10 is the fact that I think last season we came from behind 9 times to win the game or something like that. Was it up to 9 times? Or
we didn't lose away.
We didn't lose away. The fact that we had the longest, we had the best away form or thereabouts in the league, and the best ever since Fergie, since Fergie left. For me, I thought that showed that we had come far, and it was an improvement on the season before. And then the fact that we came from behind a few times, I think we came from behind I'm not sure if my stats are correct, but I think it was 9 times. And for me, from a losing position as well. So for me, that showed that the team had improved in terms of mental strength. So, and if you're gonna blame the coach when the team does badly, you have to give the coach the props for if showing that we've got better mental strength. But having said that, when it all mattered, we floundered. So it all comes back to the coaching again. So that's why I'm not sold on Ole. That's why I'm not sold on Ole, because you can get away with it in the league, right? And that's why just mentioning quickly about Harry Kane, you can get away with scoring, against teams in the league. But if you're not a big game player, when you get to those positions or when you get to those situations, you find yourself always failing, and that's what separates the elite teams from the small teams. So, that's the reason why I am giving them a 6.5. Yeah.
Sorry, quickly. We can talk about our away record. We didn't lose that many games. For as bad as Liverpool was, we got more points away from home than we did. So we
didn't lose any game.
We didn't lose any game.
Yeah, but Liverpool still picked up more points away from home than we did. So moving on.
That's a good point. I like that. I think a lot of people get carried away by the
a lot of people get carried away. A lot of people get carried away. But listen, we have to be very analytical and in looking at these numbers. Let's not get carried away with records.
It's a
Okay.
point.
You're
It's a
absolutely
points
correct.
based system.
I'm talking about numbers.
Liverpool did not
finished
win more away points than us last season. Only Man City did.
Yeah, no, but what I'm
Only
saying,
Man
what I'm even
City
going to
did.
say is, yeah, what I was even going to add is the fact that we shouldn't get carried away because Liverpool had their the two main defenders out for the whole season, for most of the season, Gomez and Van Dijk out for most of the season, and yet finished like what 3-4
5
points
points.
behind
Just
us.
5 points. Just 5 points.
It was 5 points.
Just
behind
5.
Man United.
5 points behind
5
us. So that, and so imagine not having Maguire and Lindelof for a whole season.
Oh, we're finishing mid-table. Are you serious? Mid-table.
Listen, so I think last season it flattered a bit to deceive, but also there are also positives as well. So it's a bit of both. So that's why I give it like 6.5 because I thought that the way we started the league, the season, listen, I thought we were going to finish like 6 or something. Especially when we lost to Crystal Palace. Losing to Crystal Palace at Old Trafford, I was like, nah. So
Like
that's
three losses in the first 4 games.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it was
we lost we lost three
Yeah.
out of the first 4 games. We lost 3 out of the first 4 games.
Let's go to our man
I
Itata.
think by game 7 we only had like how many points?
9-10 points. 9-10 points.
Yeah. So yeah,
They're just smiling.
Yeah.
Why are you smiling? You shouldn't be smiling. Why are you smiling?
you're smiling. You're happy, aren't you? It's like
I'm
music
waiting
to
for
your
my
ears.
turn, innit? I'm waiting for my rating.
You know what Champions League before. Do you remember that?
You still haven't won it.
Do you remember that?
You don't know what it means to hold that trophy yet.
Itata, let's go.
Yeah, so I'm not going to fall into that trap. There is a consistent theme about this thing. It's like me telling you guys I'm going to drive from here to Dallas, which is about an average of 4 hours, and then I show up and tell you guys, well, when I drove on the way, I made a U-turn. If you see that U-turn, it was sexy. Or if you see the way I overtook someone on the road, you know. I overtook someone. The guy was driving at 65. I made sure I hit a 70 and blew past him. Did you get to Dallas? Nobody wants to hear about all of that stuff. You understand? Did you get to the destination? Yes or no? We are here talking about U-turns and how the break was so nice and all of that stuff. Did you get to Dallas? That's what this should be about. You start the season as Manchester United, you're expected to win trophies. You understand? The whole point of this thing and Super League and why people were upset is you're in a competition and you hope to win. What makes United's history and identity is winning. We are not popular because we've been relegated so many times. We are not popular because we failed to win the league. We are popular because we've won titles for years. That's the reason why we are popular. It's the success. So based off of that, I mean, I'm not going to be totally unappreciative of being second in the league because it is difficult. I'm not going to be like that. So I would put it at 6 because I'm tempted to go Jola's way if I have to be absolutely realistic and absolutely take off all of the skin and just look at the skeleton. I don't want to do that. You know, I would give it a 6 just because we are second, just based off of a number. I don't want to go into the details, but losing out of that Champions League, I have wiped it out of my memory. You guys just brought it back. The Europa League final is not something I would discuss with even my enemy. I wouldn't do that. You know, it's 2 things that absolutely wrecked our season last season. It's not something to be proud of at all.
There's something I do, right? I sometimes step out and look at a bigger picture, and then sometimes I dive in and look at the details under the hood. When you look at a bigger picture, United is not United. Not the United we know. United is different. We're at a different phase. This is probably United just before Ferguson came or United before Busby came. That's where we are now. So what I'm talking about that is if we try and put Ole in the history of United, put him against that.
I'm not putting.
No, I'm just saying that.
Look, listen.
But
What you're trying. Hold on. What you're trying to say now is, I'm a man, right? I have my wife. My wife in front of me. I'm trying to hug my wife, and then I'm like, no, I can't hug my wife because my neighbor's wife is prettier.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly. That's what you're trying to.
You're a man now. You want to hug your wife, but you have 2 bottles of drinks in your hand. You have to drop those bottles.
No, you can hold your wife with the bottles in your hand.
No, maybe
except
maybe
your hands are
maybe
being
your wife
off.
is not as large as the typical African woman. You have to
see, you're shifting the boundaries now. You're shifting the boundaries. You're shifting the boundaries now.
No, but you know what I'm trying to say is that what you get what I'm trying to say with Ole thing is that if we want to be strict and judge Ole by standards that we judge.
Let him land his point, though.
Oh, please. I thought he had finished. That's
I give Ole a 6. Mm-hmm. And based on what Bucci is saying, I'm not putting Ole against. People compare Ole with Sir Alex. I just think it's a joke. I think when people when they eat and they get belly feel, they look for something to say. I cannot mention Ole with Sir Alex. That's almost like blasphemy. I appreciate what Ole has done, but my point is, you have the players. There is a horizontal playing field. It was a COVID year. Everybody had issues.
That's right.
You have the players in front of you. Use the players you have. You have in-game management. You're not going to look at Pep. You're not going to get cheat sheet from Pep. It is your game. It's in front of you. Manage yourself out of the situation. That's my point. That is why I give Manchester United a 6. I'm not giving them a 6 based on what we did in 1999 or 1968 or 2008. I'm giving a 6 based on these are the resources you have. This is your season in front of you. These are the games you need to manage, and you still blow it. And the 6 I appreciate because we took second. Numbers don't lie. The table does not lie. But I'm saying based on the players we had, the resources we had, circumstances, everybody were in the COVID year. People had injuries. Yeah. And in fact, Liverpool had worse of injuries. Yes, their key player in the defense got injured, and they still managed games and came out of games. You understand? The FA Cup lost to Leicester. It was a game in front of you. You had to win it or you lose it. We lost it. I can't add points because of that. The manner we left the Champions League, the game was in front. In fact, we needed 2 points to qualify in the Champions League. That's 2 draws. In 3 games, we needed 2 points. So that's 2 out of a possible of 9. That I can't add points to that. That's point deduction. So to be very honest, Oga Kwame has actually given a right score if you have to take all of these deductions. And it has nothing to do with hate for the coach. It's just a real assessment of the reality that took place last season. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. My point is there were resources, and the resources were not managed enough to produce a better result. That's all.
Okay. Let's take comments. The young will say some things. Yinka says, I understand why we lost to Palace. Fitness levels were low. That is true. You have to consider the tools. Tata, we don't have the tools to be considered to win just based on our name being Manchester United. Yes, Tata has kind of answered that already. What's the last? Nika says, God bless you, Gucci. Yeah, the only sections we have a fan base. You know, our fan base.
You got the prime member of that.
We have the Jose, the Joseph sexuals, people that are much fans.
Oh my God!
I'll never understand that concept. I understand the only part makes sense.
This is how I'm mentioning that guy's name. Yeah.
How can you fans worshiping a man that wanted to destroy our club? Nah.
I'm not an only sexual. I'm a very pragmatic fan.
Okay, but On this podcast,
I just say, and I love my club. I just will be very honest, and I agree. These are things you can't argue with. You can't argue with losing to Besiktas.
No, not Besiktas. Istanbul Basaksehir.
I can guarantee nobody can pronounce that.
Listen, let me tell you guys something. That Istanbul club, I was 7 years old when I'm older than that club. I am older than that football club. Yet, bro, they had Demba Ba. Demba freaking.
I am older than Chelsea. Chelsea just won Champions League.
Yeah, I don't know that Chelsea. Come on, what do you mean?
This was fun in
Chelsea. Stop that. Chelsea has been in his 50s. They've been in his 50s.
He's throwing.
Yanika, I want to control it because we are going. I want to cut us off at 1:30. So we have probably 15 minutes left, and we still to talk about the new season. Yanika, rate your favorite neighbors, Manchester United. Rate our season.
You know what? Like, I agree with a lot of what's been said. To be honest, I think obviously second place is good. You know what I mean? But I think you do have to look at it in context. And I think if Liverpool didn't have the injuries they had, they would have finished above Man United, maybe even above City, to be honest, the way we played last season. So that means United would have finished at best third, you know. And then if Chelsea were good, because I thought in the league Chelsea weren't great either, you know, so they just scraped top four on the last day. So yeah, there's quite a few things that like went into why Man United got second. So yeah, I don't think it's my issue. If I was a United fan, would be that when you were top of the league, no one thought Man United were going to win the league. Like, yeah, some Man United fans were like, yeah, 21 in 21. But realistically, if you actually spoke to Man United fans, a lot of people were saying they don't think they'd win the league. So that's concerning, because if Man City are top, I expect us to be going on to win the league. Like, regardless of what happens, I'd expect us to be expected to win it, if you know what I mean. So I think that plays into it. I think the worst part of the season was the Champions League exit, if I'm being honest, because that it wasn't a case of you had to beat PSG to go through. You'd already done the hard bit. It was literally just not losing or beating Istanbul. You know what I mean? So I think that was probably the worst part of the season. And I think after that, anything you did in the league, unless you'd gone on and won it, it would have always been a lower rating based on that. Then you went in the Europa League, clear favourites for that, you know. Got to a final. You should have won that game. Like City should have. You should have also. And I think it's just the way you lost it as well, because it wasn't a case of you went out there, you battled hard, and the other team were better on the day. I just think, like, Ollie, I don't know what he was doing. He should have made subs earlier. The penalty shootout itself was actually quite good. I thought United actually did well. De Gea, I don't think he's good at penalty shootouts, apparently. That's what I was told. I feel like Ollie should have probably just subbed him off. You know, he hadn't saved a penalty in something like 3 years, so why would he save some in a penalty shootout? I don't know. Like, it's sort of, I felt like that came down to the management in that game. So, yeah, I think I understand why you'd give it a low rating, because I think the season looks better on paper than it probably was. Away form, a lot of United fans. Obviously, I do most podcasts with United fans, so I speak to United fans a lot. And they were saying that even though the away record was really good, it was better than City's in terms of unbeaten, but City got more points. So it's like, would you rather go out there and draw 4 games in a row or win 2? Obviously, winning 2 is better than drawing 4. So I think things like that, people kind of get a bit annoyed about. And it's kind of keeping Ollie in a job when really, it's not good enough. So I think it's like the Champions League when I was saying, like, it would have been better if we'd just lost the game, because if we'd lost the game, we might have got the loss out of the way. We didn't do that, and then we lost the final. So, yeah, I think sometimes it's kind of like City lost quite a few games at the start of the season and ended up winning the league, whereas United were kind of drawing their way to the top, which is not always the best thing. So I don't know. I understand why people are rated low. I think United, where they're at the moment, I do agree. It's not the Man United under Fergie. So your expectations, they can't be where they were when you had Fergie. So I think I understand why. I'd probably give them a 5 out of 10 because you did finish second and you did get to Europa League final. But I think if you'd have won the Europa League final, it would have made it a decent season. And then, I don't think it's as bad as some people make out, but it definitely wasn't as good as some people make out. So I'd say in the middle, 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. That's good. Let me say mine quickly. I'll just run. I'm not going to repeat points. I think I'll go with a 6. I'll talk of positives, right? Minimum expectations of the Glazers is to finish top 4. Solskjaer finished top 4 again, back-to-back years. I'm not rating for the year before. For just that season, yes, it should improve the team. The squad construction was better, you can say, slightly better. Cavani, that we all thought, I didn't think that transfer was like, I was like, oh, this guy, like, but he came and he later hit the ground running, because of that, for sure, is to get credit for that. Then more points. I think the highest points we've ever had, if I remember correctly. No, not the highest points. Second highest points, behind Mourinho. We got it. So he gets credit for all of that. Now, why I can't give more than a 6 is for everything everybody has said, especially the Champions League. Like, we shouldn't be going out to Champions League. I think the whole group of death thing is just because Leipzig overachieved, right? The season before, got to semi-final. Like, Leipzig is not bigger than Manchester United. They don't have more resources than we do. I mean, come on. Like, they just have a highly rated manager and they overachieved the year before we get to the semi-final.
Don't tell that to your sexual.
Yeah, we should have been coming out of that group, for sure. So that for me, that's the major -2 points right there. Now that final, I never cared about Europa because I just felt like we never should have been there. But I understood why the fans wanted it and why it was very important for Solskjaer to win it. And now he didn't win it against a team. If that was maybe like a Milan or like one of those teams that you say, okay, we are just slightly better than them, resources-wise. Villarreal, come on. That was like the 7th team in La Liga. Their budget was like, I think their budget, I remember they say was like the amount we bought Harry Maguire. I mean, guys, what are we saying here? Let's be honest right here. And if it was one of those games that we battered them, because it could happen in football, right? We've seen that Champions League game so many times. Barcelona have had games like that where they batter a team, they'll be unlucky, they'll get hit on the break. It wasn't one of those things like Jan said, or was it? Somebody brought up the point. That was not how the game was. It was a very cagey. We played like we were at the same level of resources as Villarreal. It was just a very weird game. So because of that, I give a 6, and I don't want to dwell on that. When we go into preview, I'll talk more about some things I do not like. So season expectation now, transfer wise. Let's go to Jola. So the question would be: we've brought in Sancho, we've brought in Varane. So just talk quickly on 1, what else do we need to bring in? 2, what are your expectations, minimum expectations for this season coming up?
Okay. What else do we need to bring in? I mean, we all know we need a DM. It's just a matter of who we're going to bring and whether it's going to happen. With the way United does business, again, this is just PTSD from the past transfer windows that we've had. I think the pieces of business we've seen so far, I think that's it. I think we're not getting any more until the season. I mean, until we kick off the season. So with the way our squad is right now,
let me interrupt you a little bit. Sorry, let's just take this comment from Siamara says age reveals. I think she was talking about when When is that I was talking like this? Older than
But you were saying that
No, he was
Go
talking about
ahead.
him because he said his age.
Yeah, I was. When I said I was 7 years
Yeah,
old,
yeah,
Istanbul was
I did
filmed.
not catch that.
They were filmed in '95 or something like that.
I didn't catch that. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead with your.
Yeah. So I think I'm assuming that this is all we're going to have. If we get a DM, yay, happy days. But if we go into the season with just what we have right now, just Varane and Sancho, my expectations, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous that we've seen a lot of United fans saying that the expectation is to win the league. Absolutely not. That is not my expectation for Manchester United this season. I don't think unless Manchester City turns into a cricket team and Liverpool turns into a netball team, I don't see us winning the league this season. And Chelsea switches to play basketball. I don't see us winning the league this season. So just because we have Varane and Sancho does not mean that should be the expectation. I think that's too much. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on the players, on the team, even on the coach. I'm not putting that kind of pressure. So my expectations are divided into two. What I expect and what I think will happen. With the target I'm setting as a fan, with the target I'm setting for Ollie, finish no more than 3 points, but no more than 3 points behind the winner of the league. That's my expectation. For me, I don't care if you finish second, third, or fourth. If you are within 3 points of the winner, I'm cool with that. That is progress for me. And win one cup, at least one cup. I don't care which cup. Champions League, Carabao Cup, I don't care. Win me a cup. Because what that will show me is that, look, maybe, just maybe, he has the very basic ingredients that are needed to be a coach. Maybe he just if he can win a cup, maybe he can show me that he has those very basic skills that you look for in any coach. What do I think will happen? I think he will fail to meet both targets, just because, look, no matter how much you try, you can't make a roadside carpenter a surgeon. You can have the best hospital building. You can have a great laboratory in your hospital with all the you can have all these great medical equipment with the best MRI, CT scan, X-ray machines. You can have great hospital beds, but if in your operating room you have a roadside carpenter instead of a surgeon, you're die. So that is my expectation this season. You listen, I hate to be wrong. I really do. I mean, I hate to be right. But Ollie has never proved me wrong. He has never, in terms of what do you go into a season expecting and what do you come out of the season with at the end. So I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm not expecting anything substantial from this season. I am not looking forward to this season. I am not, to be very honest with you guys. Forget Varane, forget Sancho, it will be the same story.
Interesting. Okay. So essentially a title challenge. That's what you're saying.
Just 3 points within the winner and win me a cup.
Correct.
That's what I want.
Okay.
Inca says, I can see only following in Klopp's blueprint at United. Exactly the same pattern. Klopp didn't win anything until his fourth or fifth season. He even lost Europa finals to his Spanish side, just like Ole did. Well, I think a lot of people like drawing these comparisons. People have been doing this since, I think, Ole's first full season, and I always explain people that context is very important when looking at football. It's very, very important. For number one, Klopp lost a Europa final with a Liverpool side that were in shambles. That was a shambolic Liverpool side that he had to rebuild from scratch, because I remember that was his first season in Liverpool, right? That wasn't his first full season. He came halfway through that season. And people, this comparing managers thing is very weird for me. It's probably like Ole and Klopp. It's very weird. Klopp is an established world-class manager before he came to Liverpool. So That's all I'm going to say there. But thank you for the comments, Inka. Bucci, take us away. What are your thoughts? Expectations based on what we have right now?
I'll be very honest and say that you guys should stop shifting the goalpost.
You guys.
Either good enough now or it's not good enough
Specific.
tomorrow. No. Hold on. I'm just being honest like this, right?
Okay.
I've had this discussion with you where I said, look, for the Glazers, Ole will not be fired until the fans get tired of him, until he feels diabolically. But
Correct.
when we're talking about expectations as fans and we're going, win me a cup, and then turn around and go, but the Carling Cup doesn't mean anything to Manchester United. FA Cup doesn't mean. So basically, I was brought up in the school of first is first, second is nothing. If you don't win the league or you don't win the Champions League, you haven't actually, you can't beat your hand on your chest and say, I did very well.
Yeah.
The only reason we're talking about winning a trophy is because of the, how do I put it? The aura or the halo hanging over his head. The loser halo, 4 semi-final losses, bottled the league, what's it called? Europa Cup final, bottled the chance to win the league. So if those are the expectations we're going in with, then we're already going, Liverpool is better, Man City is better. Then, there are no expectations. What? Because we can't get that. But if we're going about a better season, I think we'll have a better season because we can't say that Ole hasn't improved since he came here. Because when he came here, this team was also in shambles. Shambles in the sense of mentally. The team was broken. And that's the other part of it that's why Ole, I think we have to give Ole a little bit of credit. Because we keep going, all these purist things about do this, do that, and forget that we had 2 world-class managers here. They didn't do better than this guy. The only thing they did was they won trophies. This guy won the FA Cup and got fired. But Jose won the League Cup, won the Europa League, came second, and left the team in such a bad position that if Jose had continued, we would have been going down. So that's part of why I give this guy credit, because where people who had this winner skills, special skills, did not succeed, he succeeded. Will he win the league? Will he win that? I don't think so. Because I have to be very honest and say it has to take a collapse. Like we were saying, when we were leading, we're not going to win the league because we knew there were teams better than us and managers better than us around. So it took a Liverpool collapse for him to come second. It has to take a Liverpool collapse and a Man City collapse, which won't happen. Both won't collapse at the same time. He's not going to win the Champions League unless he flukes it. I mean, that is possible, but I don't believe in fluke. I don't want to speculate on transfers. Judging from what I have seen right now, the team is going to be better. But will they be better than Chelsea, Liverpool, and City? I don't think so. The only hope United has going into the season is that there's so many competitions and teams might be looking elsewhere. And then teams might have a problem with gelling. Because what United has that Chelsea has doesn't have that. And Liverpool doesn't have that because Liverpool are rebuilding again, is that they have a core that have played together for years. That's just being real. Expectations, I don't have expectations because to be very honest, last season was a season Ole should have won a trophy. He did not. It's harder now. He's not, because if he drops out of Champions League and goes and wins Europa next season, it's a failure. So what is he going to win? League Cup? Is that really good enough? Do I want a League Cup? Do I want an FA Cup? Okay, yeah, let him win it so that people stop saying he's not a winner. But he will not, until he wins the league and Champions League, he's not going to be respected. And he won't be an elite manager. And that's what he needs to do. So, and that's what Manchester United need. That's just me. I will enjoy my football. I'm looking forward to the season, by the way.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you say you don't have any expectations, right? I guess where do you think we'll finish? That's another question.
We will finish in the top 4. That's it. Top 4.
But Jola, where do you think we'll finish? I forgot to ask that.
Where do I think we will finish?
Yeah.
I think we'll finish number 4 this season.
Okay. Expectations. Let's go to Choco. Thoughts based on what we have right now, and what do you think we need? I think Jola talked about defensively. If you think it's a DM,
I'm kind of.
Are you on mute?
Yeah, I think the signings we've got are good because we've been screaming for. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, cool. So I think that the signings we've done are actually the right signings. We've been crying out for Sancho. We've done it. Varane. We've been in a love. We've been in a love relationship with Varane from a long, like for how many years now? We've finally done that. I still think that we need a DM, but like Jola said, looking at how United has always gone around about its transfer business, we almost never finish it.
Right.
we never really get all that we want to get. So I won't be surprised if we don't get another player again. So actually I agree with Jola on that part. So yeah, I'm happy that we've finally gotten the right winger and another addition to our defense and an established winner at that. So hopefully that will bring more stability to the back. In terms of like my expectations, I don't know. Where else do you go to from being second?
Yeah.
First, and I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all because we don't have the squad for it. We don't even have the first team for it. Talking of the squad, so Liverpool was lucky to get away with it the year they won it because all their players were fit for like a good chunk of the season and they won it. And they've realized from last season why you have to have a bigger squad, and that's why Man City has done it. We don't have those two things. We don't have a first team to win the league, and we don't have the squad. So realistically,
we have the first
the league
team.
is out of the question. So I would say sorry?
We have the first team, but go ahead.
We don't have a complete first team though. We don't have a DM yet. Yeah. So in terms of that, so in terms of my expectations as to position in the league, I think we'll finish around top 4 or somewhere in top 4, to be honest. I think that Chelsea will finish ahead of us. I think Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea will finish ahead of us. I think Arsenal are going to have a better season than many people think, and many people have been thinking of. I think they'll be thereabouts as well. They'll be hovering around just outside the top 4, in my opinion. I somehow think that they're going to have a better season than most people think they are going to have. So I think we'll finish 4th, and I think I don't see us winning any. Sadly, I don't see us winning any title, especially if we don't get a DM. I don't see us winning any cup at all. But my expectations are for as a United. So I don't see us winning any competition. I don't see us getting to the finals of any competition and actually, jumping that hurdle of that mental hurdle of winning a competition. So yeah, that's my expectations are we finish 4th at least, and that's it, and that we'll just keep it going. I think the hierarchy at United will be happy with that. If we finish in Champions League places, they'll just be like, yeah, we're just carrying on. But yeah, I don't think we'll win any trophy like last season as well. I don't see us winning it. I don't think we even go if last season happens again where we crash out of Champions League. I don't think we'll even go further in Europa League like than we did last season. I don't know what that's what I think. That's kind of like where I am mentally with the team, because we don't have the advantages of last season where the whole world was shut down. I think as the world opens up, I think our strength will be found out a bit. That's what I think, So I don't want to rumble on and on, but I think we'll finish 4th. I think my expectations are just that, really, that we'll finish 4th and that's it. That'll be the highlight of the season.
Okay. Before you go, before you go, thanks for that, Joko. Before I think Jola wants my leave, I'm going to ask everyone to do a quick, just top 4 predictions, just what you see right now. Of course, if you change, transfer, blah, blah, blah. But what we have right now, I know it's kind of early to do that.
I think we already all have, haven't we? We kind of have said we've all kind of said the top 4 teams are gonna be top 4.
No,
Unless you want to put it in order.
I need order.
Okay.
Yes. I need order.
Because I don't think anybody here has said Spurs, Leicester, or Arsenal are breaking that top 4. So it's the traditional top 4.
Yeah. So let me take all this comment. Let me take this comment. Then I'll let Jola give his because I know he has to jump off. Then every other person can give his. Then we'll move to Itata to do his own preview. Yuka says not comparing per se, it's more of being positive about what can happen. That's fair point. It's always good to be positive. I mean, that's what football is. It's supposed to be escapism.
First lady with the sword.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Nah, leave us out of this. Oh Lord.
Are you guys serious? If you guys want to get me started bring up what's his name? Arteta again. People keep talking about Arteta, best thing since sliced bread. Man should go back and do his assistant manager job at City. He's needed at City, man. Coming here, the total pretender, man. He will be found out this season.
Okay. Let me take comments. I don't know who this is. Facebook here says Siamara and Grealish. They beat 100 million club record. Villa probably gonna accept Leon Bailey about to join them reports. Definitely Grealish money. Final comments that we have right now is I think United has winning the trophy this year. I just don't know which one yet.
I think if it happens, I'll take it.
Yeah. I think she needs to go and go back to a native doctor to see that vision.
I'll be happy.
I'll take it, man.
Let me give. If Jola is not ready, I think I'm ready because my own is very easy. Straight.
Okay, go.
I think it's a repeat. I think Liverpool comes second. They have a reason to be fighting. Chelsea come third. United come fourth. United does not have the squad to run the whole gamut. So yeah, they come third, fourth. I change that. United come third. Chelsea come fourth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think City wins it again. Chelsea will come second. I think Chelsea comes second. Liverpool third, and United fourth.
Choco, are you there?
I actually think the other way around. I think Liverpool finished. Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Guys.
You're just delayed.
Hello?
You have a lag. Go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. You're delayed. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I think Liverpool finished. Yeah, cool. Oh, okay. I think Liverpool finishes first. Simply because they've got their defensive partnership back. And yes, that alone, I think they're just going to push for it now. But I think they're only going to do well in the league, though. So Liverpool first, Man City second, Chelsea third, and United fourth. That's what I think will happen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I had. Yeah, I had. If it's as it stands now, then I think City should win it. Liverpool. I think Chelsea might come second. Liverpool third, United fourth. But I think United have had the best window. So it just depends on Liverpool, really. Because if they stay exactly as they are right now, we don't know how Van Dijk's going to be after that injury. Because that injury is not a easy injury to come back from. We can see what's happened to Mendy. Sane's still not back to his, best. So it depends how Van Dijk recovers. But yeah, I could see them finishing third. I think if Van Dijk comes back and he's great, then Liverpool might finish second. So I think it depends on Van Dijk whether they finish second or third. Yeah, I think United will finish fourth as it stands, but we don't know. If Chelsea get Haaland, it changes things a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, that's true.
End of transfer window makes a big difference.
Itata, what are your top four? Then you can put your
Yeah.
your preview for.
I think in recent history, City have probably mastered the art of winning the league. So I think it would be very dangerous to bet against them. I would pick City to win it. But then Liverpool, Chelsea, and United, it just depends on how things pan out.
Yeah.
I think that those three, I honestly can't see what order. United's team is on paper, and if the stars align, can challenge for the title. And without injuries, just looking at Varane plugging the hole, because we had an issue with Alaji soft off. So now that's out of the way. That's out of the way.
Lindesoft.
Lindesoft, weak Delof, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just looking at the prospect of Varane, Maguire. That's a pretty solid core. And then we've really not had a right winger since David Beckham. That's been sorted now. As the team is, our midfielders are actually not that bad. If we don't get a DM with how the team is and without injuries, I think we challenge for the title. So City is set. The other three I can't really call because it will depend on how things.
Sorry, I'm going to jump off real soon. But before I just want to say that I think for me the key to our midfield problems this season, in fact, to our whole season, really, it's not Sancho, it's not Bruno, and it's actually Matic for me.
Yeah,
because Nemanja Matic, he screens very well, right? He has a good sense of positioning, and he passes the ball well. If he can have a good run of games and he stays injury-free, I think Matic, Bruno, and Pogba can do a good job in that midfield next season. If we don't get a DM, I'm all right. I actually think, depending on how well Matic starts the season, he didn't go to the Euros, right? No, he didn't go to Euros. He's not in the Olympics.
Yeah, so he's well rested.
He's well rested. I really think he's the key to us having a good midfield this season.
Let me piggyback on you, and this is something you'll be surprised to hear me say, but it's a simple truth. The United squad is good enough to challenge for the title. The first team, even the squad, because when your first team is good enough, you can. The problem is that we don't have a guy, a Conte. If we have a Conte or somebody in the manner or mold of Conte, we win the league. Someone that goes, oh, I'm going to play Fred, counter 10. I want him to press the defender. This kind of crazy stuff, and then it works. That's,
look, I think we can engineer that midfield in a way that, look, Matic has no pace, but he has the pace of Bruno Fernandes, who can get about the pitch. Behind him, he has the pace of Rafa Varane, who can also, who has the legs. I think we need to stop looking at Bruno as the brain of the midfield. Bruno Fernandes is not the brain, at least not as much as Pogba is. I feel like we use Matic in that screening role, use Bruno Fernandes for his ability to get about the pitch and his work rates, his engine, and look to Pogba for the creativity. That is what I think, and that's what I think is the key to our midfield success this season. But anyway, guys, I gotta go.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Let me say my own top four quickly. Okay, so Yinka says Chelsea first, City second, United third, Liverpool fourth. I think
someone's betting against City.
Okay. I think I actually agree with Yinka. They just won the Champions League, and if they can only get better, they can beat City. If they can get better from what we saw, they can of course beat City.
Yeah,
because they're very disciplined.
I think if they get Haaland,
I don't see Chelsea doing it.
You guys are forgetting that it's harder to win the league
knockout
than the
football is
Champions
different.
League. You can fluke the Champions League.
Yeah.
You can come, and I'm not trying to say Tuchel fluked it. I'm just pointing out that he came in January, did a few, and just won it.
Mm.
You have to look at what's his name,
Brazilian.
Thiago Silva in that defense, Scott Zuma. Like that defense is gonna get found out in the league because look at Tuchel. Tuchel basically, if not that Leicester started messing up, they would have not made top 4. So
Yeah.
remember, they still have weaknesses that are very glaring, especially in their defense. That I don't think that I put my house on them.
The counter to that is Tuchel is actually a very good coach. You think he
Exactly.
doesn't know about that stuff?
He's a genius of a coach.
Yeah, he's a very good coach. I'm just saying if they improve from what we saw, they can challenge for the league title easily.
That's right.
Yeah. So before let me jump in and say my top 4 quickly. Then Itata, you can do your preview. Then I do my preview and we close it. My top 4 is City first. I think Liverpool. Yeah, what Jan said is critical. Van Dijk is the X factor there. But Liverpool second. If Van Dijk is fit. I think United comes third. Chelsea comes fourth. But either or, one person is going to flip. Either they come third and we come fourth. So that's how I think it's going to go. Tata, take it away. Give us your preview. What do you expect for this season based on our signings? What do we need?
Oh my God. Expect some heavy proverbs right now.
No. I would say this though, something fun. I would say this. When we signed Sancho, I quickly logged into my online banking system and my money was intact. We signed Varane. I logged into to check my account. My money was intact. I see that we have sympathy for these owners. Yannick, if City want to spend 300 million, let them spend it. It's not going to touch you, I promise. I promise. And if we have to go out and buy a DM who is 100 million, I don't have a problem with it, as long as the issues are answered. So the transfer so far, I rated an 8. If we get a DM, a traditional DM like in the mode of a Rice or Didi or a Casemiro, I can wish someone in that mode that can stay disciplined, or Neves and just know how to do the job. I would give it a 9. I think it's almost impossible to get a 10 transfer window. But if we get a DM that would come in and do the job, I'll give it a 9. And as for my expectation, I think part of the problem with United, you guys know, I don't hate Ole, but I don't think personally that is good enough. I think he has done what he's supposed to do. He's taken us to a place of organization and sanity. I think we are now almost ready to have that coach that would come in like the Conte and say, you know what, we have the structure in place. The players know where we are going. Everyone is rowing in the right direction. Let's win this trophy now. I really don't think Ole is the person to take us there. I appreciate everything that he has done. So expectation-wise, psychologically, I don't think we are in the place to even win a trophy. You guys know how much I love a trophy. If it is left for me, I would tell my United players, go to Lagos, beat up a guy that is hawking something and just raise the tree. I'll take it. That's how much I love a trophy. They know that I love, everybody here except Choco knows how much I love trophy. I don't expect us to win anything. But
if you don't love trophy, go bring another squad.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't expect us to win something. However, I think a title challenge will be very tasty. I'll take it. I'll take a title challenge with any trophy. At this point, with any trophy, I think just lifting that trophy does something to you psychologically. And I think if we raise any trophy, be it the League Cup or FA Cup, I think it would do us a lot of good. Because the players psychologically are damaged. They've walked past a trophy, they've lost 4 semi-finals. So at this point, we need a trophy just to lift that trophy to get over that psychological hump. So I'm expecting a title challenge because our team is not that bad. I keep hearing, "Oh, United, we are not good enough." Man, if you look at that team on
They're
paper,
very good.
that first 11
They're very
can
good.
challenge for the title if they want it. So
Our
Yeah.
team is so good that you know that if you put our first 11 beside City's first 11, a lot of City's players are not walking into our team. It's defense, even in the strike force, they're not walking in. That's why, like Sancho walks into the City team, right? He can walk in.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
get
because you don't have a striker. You move Sterling into the middle. Sancho walks in. Mahrez has to fight Sancho for a position. Cavani is better than the striker because they don't have a striker there, right?
Yes.
Sterling is better on the left wing. You can't say anybody on the left back is better than Shaw. You can't say apart from Diaz, there's no centre back better than Maguire. So you can see what I'm saying. The keeper is good. The right back position is, so you can really see that team is good when you start going.
yeah, our first 11 is,
Yeah.
I think, is better than people portray.
Yeah,
I
it is
agree.
good.
I agree. I think so too. So you let me take comment. Sorry, I lost track. Tiamat says, "I can't believe I do Jola on Matic." That was a good point.
It's true. He's a very good footballer. It's just he's going to turn 76. That's the only problem. But he's a very good footballer.
And he was a turtle all his life. So now that he's 70 something, he's probably he's crawling.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what did he say about? Was it Ayo that said that thing that Matic turns like a oil tanker? He has
I mean, I'm not on the Matic train.
He's a very good footballer. He's a very good. If you watch Matic, he does the simple things well. He just is not as mobile anymore, but he does the simple things well. But someone who sits in front of the defense, I just need you to be smart, be intelligent. Not like Fred, I love Fred, but Fred will want to be Brazilian whenever he's pressed.
He's just not a Brazilian. He's not a proper Brazilian. That's just a problem.
Brought them from 10th to 4th. I guess he's trying to give us reason why he chose Chelsea. Just imagine
he started the league with Chelsea.
That's a good point. So, my quick preview is, I like our transfers. Very good, very very good transfers. I said something a couple of weeks back to somebody like, I think I told Bucci. I think that our most important transfer that we did not make, and I'm being honest, and this is me who I've been middle of the road. I've praised Solskjaer so much from when people were still criticizing. I've been praising him from last season. It's I think he's done very well. He's done the job he was brought here to do, like everybody has said. I think the most important transfer we've missed is I personally think we should have gone. If we were serious about winning, we should have gone and gotten Antonio Conte. I'm being honest with you, because what this team, in my opinion, lacks is a manager that is obsessed about structure and winning. Yes, winning mentality, but structure from a tactical standpoint, structure and being compact.
Yeah,
that is what I see being the problem to get over the hump with Manchester United. Like having that person that can bring that compactness to us, so that we will be difficult to beat. Because what Solskjaer is trying to do, in my opinion, we cannot be this ultra attacking side like Man City. That's not who we are. Like Man City, you can or Liverpool when they were Super Saiyan, when they were their prom, when they won the league. We cannot be that, because that's not kind of what Solskjaer is trying to do. He's trying to recreate the 4-3-3 Sir Alex time. That's what Solskjaer is literally trying to recreate what Carlos Queiroz did with that team when we had Rooney, Ronaldo, like flexible attack. That's what he's trying to do. I see it. That's what he's trying to do. The problem that I see with that is it will never be consistent enough, which is allowing players the freedom to walk the spaces, freedom of their decision, not much about systems, more about the players. It will never be consistent enough to outdo a club at their peak or a Pep. It will not. What instead it should that can work is being like a Conte, where the team will be so compact that we win games with 1-0, 2-0, 1-0, 2-0. But Solskjaer is not seeing that. I personally think he's not. He wants to do the other counter-attacking thing, and I don't think it's going to work enough. I know that ship has sailed. I understand Conte is always fights with board or whatever, but I think that's what we should have done. The 2 years we have now, we go talk to him, like, what do you need? This words, and that's one important I think we missed. I also think we need a DM. Now going back to transfers, I think we need a DM like Rice. We absolutely need that because that will be transformational to this team. It will make us get closer to whoever wins the league for sure. If we can get a DM, especially if everybody stays fit, we need a DM.
Yeah.
It will be transformational because I think what people are forgetting is Bruno and Pogba are people that like going the other way, going forward. So even if you bring a DM that can pass more than a DM, we need a DM that can cover space, large amounts of space very quickly, like what Fernandinho was for City in his prime.
Yeah.
What N'Golo Kante is even though it's not really a DM, it's box to box, but that quality, what Ndidi kind of is, But there's a reason why Casemiro exactly can cover a large amount of space very quickly, and like Buchi said, under pressure can quickly get out of pressure and at least give short passes. We don't need to be a Carrick, but at least can do the short passes very well, like Ndidi does, But we need to do that because if we don't do that, despite Varane and Maguire, it will not be enough. We are still going to drop a lot of points due to transition because people understand what we're trying to do. Coaches are not stupid; they understand what we're trying to do. So
I
they're going
always
to make
say
sure
I'm not a genius, my brother.
Transition.
I'm not a genius. None of us. What do all these genius guys do? Pep, Fernandinho getting old, Rodri,
right,
Klopp, Henderson is not so fit. Fabinho, these guys they're the guys we should be looking at what they do, and that's what they all do. They go get that position. Sorry, Jorginho. So it's a need. It's a need. I think we have to address it. But
we have to address it. We absolutely have to.
That's why I said
expectations.
Sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
No. Say your point.
No. That's why I said that our first team is not good enough because we're not complete yet. That's why I said that earlier on. That our first team, even as a team, is not good enough for to win the title. Without a DM, you're not doing it. You might fluke it, but I don't know how you do it over 38 games. You'll be found out.
And the other thing is, if we get a DM, because we know Matic can do the job. If we get a DM, now Matic is a backup for that DM that can actually do the job, and we are covered for an entire season.
Yeah, I agree. And so to finish my point, my expectations for this season is a proper title challenge. So that's why we have to get that DM. It's a proper title to late in the season, to end of April, May. We have to win the trophy. I'm not listening to anything again. No more I don't care. We have to win the trophy. Because if we don't do any of those two things, personally, I'm the project has been fantastic. Fantastic is an exaggeration. The project has been very good. Has been good to very good by Solskjaer. It's been good. We need a new project manager. You've done well. You can be part of the setup if you want in recruitment. We need a new. We cannot keep doing this cycle of, every year. Oh, we need one more player because then that's when we fall into the Arsenal thing under late stage Wenger. Every season is if we get this player, it's going to work. The next, if we get these two players. If we get these three players, no. We're not doing that anymore. So
and then we're gonna end up like that because guess what's gonna happen? If we get this player, this season now, you're getting Sancho, but Paul might be leaving.
Correct. That's why I've been saying.
Yeah, there's that law of entropy. Right. It gets to a point when these players won't be there because they're too old. They're not gonna win anything, and they go, look. They're going to Hurricane out of here. Dude, I got to go win. I know I'm making money, but I can make it in PSG. I can make it in Barcelona. They're out of here.
Yeah.
And I want to caveat something before we go about Ole, because, you guys are saying, I'm saying that because it's very important. This season, Ole has no more excuses. He's either this is when the pudding will be put out and everybody's going to eat it. And so everyone will tell us the taste of the pudding because my guy is not going to say, I'm still dealing with players. I don't have players I want. Now, you got your team. You got your players. They gave you a new contract. Everything is going in line. No excuses. And when I mean no excuses, don't come to March and you're on top of the league and throw it away and come and tell me, what's it called? Trophies are egos. Well, go and massage your ego somewhere else because we won't need. I'm just being serious. I will not be supporting this guy come end of the season if we are in the kind of vibe we had last season. That's just being honest.
most backed United manager, longest serving United manager now.
Exactly.
Bought the most players. If last time I checked too, he has bought the
Almost
most.
400,
there's no more excuses.
almost 500 million.
Yes.
Almost 500 million.
There's no more excuses anymore.
In
That
investment.
excuse is out of the window. Like right now, we need to show that we can win. This is the time to win. You know, even though I want him to win, I don't think he has that extra 20%. You know, to win big trophies. I think he can win the FA, like everybody said, and Carabao. But those two big trophies, I don't think so. I might be wrong. When I just look at the mistakes I see and the squad construction, when I look at the squad construction, it's better than what was there before. The problem is when I look at the plan of the people he's competing with, the way they are constructing their squad, you can already tell that they are recruiting to like a bigger plan and dynamic. When I look at Solskjaer, I look at him as like he's just buying. Oh, this guy is a good player for this position, which is good. But I'm looking at the overall. Okay, what are you recruiting towards? Are you trying to transition team? Do you want to keep the ball? Like when you buy one Bissaka, you pay 50 million, but you want to be an attacking side. You know that going forward and even defensively, still has some faults. You know, those are the things that always make me look at him like, I'm not sure this guy really, has a grand plan of like I'm recruiting to this system. And that's one problem I look at him. I'm like, I'm not sure about this guy. But we'll see. I think we've come to the end. Jan, any thoughts?
Please, I have a question for Yannicka, actually. Yannicka, do you see a season whereby City, being that you guys are pretty good at winning the league and you just lock in on the Champions League? Do you see a possibility of that happening?
I think Pep will go for all four, but I think mentally the players might look towards the Champions League. I think a lot of them have won the league quite a lot. The Champions League is what they're going for. So I think mentally, yeah, that could be the case. I think that happened last season, to be honest. I think we were more focused towards the Champions League. We were much better in the Champions League. Even at the start of the season, when City were terrible, and getting beat in the league, we were still doing quite well in the Champions League. So I think last season they did almost as well. We ended up winning the league because everyone else kind of fell off a little bit. I think that's why. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying the league, for one, it's harder to retain than it is to win the first time. And secondly, I agree with you. I think City will look more towards getting that Champions League title. And that's why, if things are as they stand, I think City will win the league because I think we've got the best team. But if Chelsea get Haaland or you get a DM, I'm not so sure because I think other teams will be up there battling us for it. And I think Chelsea, they've got no pressure to win the Champions League now. They've just won it. So they can pretty much just focus on the league, which I think they will. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But it's going to be, this is what I'm saying, it could be a disappointing season for City based on our standards, just because we might go for the Champions League and then not win it. So, yeah, I will have to see what happens.
Okay, let me take the final comments and I'll close the show. I agree with Ayo's analysis. We need to be compact. Thank you for the comment, Yinka, to win anything. We've come to the end of the show, guys. This was fun. This was the Manchester pod. If you're watching, Foodie Fans is on the screen. Like, share, subscribe. Yan City has us. It's called Etian City. Also part of the Sarcasm City pod. Choco, thanks for making our time. Choco's delayed.
Thank you.
Okay.
There's a little delay, yeah.
Yeah, on Choco's on. Okay. Yan, Itata, Zaza, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We are
on your side as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of delay on your side.
Yeah,
Right,
Choco,
thank you so
you're
much.
streaming from she's streaming from 1986.